Welcome to Reddit Blue Pill, Red Pill, where we go over Reddit stories and predict the outcome of the stories. Please listen and play along by typing in your choices into the comments. There are 5 seconds to answer, or you can pause the video. Today we have a story about a man who doesn't want to help pay for his sister's wedding. All right, let's get on to the story. I, 26 male, am the eldest of 4 siblings, Liam, 17 male, Rose, 23 female, and May, 20 female. I lost my father 6 years ago, and it was hard on all of us, but it didn't seem to crush anyone as bad as my mother. It was brutal. She didn't last long without him. With no one else taking care of us, I took a part-time job until I graduated and then joined my campus placement, instead of master's like I always wanted to. We managed since Rose joined a good local college, which was government funded, so the fees were not too high, and the FD our father started for her wedding managed to pay for the whole degree. There was still a bit left. I used it along with what I myself started saving for her to pay for her wedding. She found a good guy, respectful, kind, smart, hardworking, stable job. The kind who could take good care of her and loved her. Of course we all loved him. He was her dream guy and the kind our father would approve of. All was well. The OP in this story was 20 when his father passed away, and he stepped up to help his mother take care of his younger siblings. His father had been saving for the future wedding of his older daughter Rose, but instead that money was mainly used to pay her college degree. The OP also started to save for his sister Rose, and the remaining money was used to cover the expenses of Rose's wedding. Rose married young, but her future husband is a good man who is responsible, and Rose herself is also responsible. Still, marrying young seems iffy. What do you think? Would you approve of your very young sibling marrying a responsible and stable man? If so, type Q1 blue in the comments. If you would not approve because marrying too young is foolish, no matter the other circumstances, then type Q1 red. Now, May brought this guy home and informed us she plans to marry him soon. He has no promise of graduating this year either. He should have done so last year and is receiving pocket money from parents. He doesn't have a job and isn't managing to get a stable one either. I wouldn't be so wary if May was trustworthy, but she isn't. She is in no position to manage interviews and a job. Neither are her grades good enough to push her into masters. I told her this is not a good idea, but she is in no mood to listen to me. Her argument is that Rose was her age when I got her married. I told her Rose landed most interviews she tried and managed our household finances to a good extent by herself. She was ready for it. May isn't. She isn't listening to me. She said, "Fine, hate him all you want. Don't give us your permission or blessing. Just pay and get done with it." I said I won't pay for her wedding because the OP's younger sister, May, is now asking for financial help with her wedding. She says that her older sister, Rose, was his same age when she got married, so the OP should not object. But the OP points out that Rose, while only 20 at the time she was married, had a job, managed the house, did well in college, and married a responsible man who could take care of her. May is basically the opposite. She has no job, is not responsible, isn't doing great in college, and wants to marry a man who is also as irresponsible with no job and future prospects. In addition, the money used for Rose's wedding was partially saved by her late father, with the OP covering some of the expenses. But the OP did help with some of Rose's wedding expenses, so should he at least gift his sister May the same amount? What do you think? If you think the OP has a right to refuse to pay for May's wedding, type Q2 red in the comments. If you think he should treat both sisters equally and should help pay for May's wedding, type Q2 blue. 1. I hardly have the money. I used up all the money our father set aside for her future into her college fees, and my FD hasn't matured yet. 2. Even if I were to break it or take a loan, it's an unwise decision on her part that I don't support. 3. I'm trying to save up for my kids' futures, and such a big expense is not the way to do so. 4. Medical bills are draining my income as is, and paying for her wedding will be taxing. The OP states that the money her father had saved for May has already been used for her college expenses. There is an additional savings account, but taking out the money before a stated date will cause losses to the total amount, so he does not advise she do this. But if the FD account does belong to May, in the end it is her decision, is it not? The OP also has other bills to take care of, not to mention taking care of himself and his own future. Plus, a gift is not mandatory, it is something someone does if they so desire, and the OP stated he does not wish to support May in her decision to be married now. What do you think? If you think the OP should at least give May access to the FD account to do as she pleases, type Q3 red in the comments. If you think he should keep that account away from her until it matures, and hopefully until May herself also matures, type Q3 blue.
I know it's not fair since I paid for Rose's wedding, but I didn't have to spend that much on her college since it was a very good one and could use some of that fund in the wedding. Not to mention, Rose herself helped manage finances and she saved us a good bit, which is why I could pay for her. I didn't have a lump sum liquid cash lying around. So, am I the a-hole?
Okay, we have come to the conclusion to this story. The OP gives a few additional details, explaining that because Rose was more frugal with her decision to attend a cheaper college, and Rose working and partially paying for her own wedding, that is the reason the OP was able to help her when she decided to marry. But May doesn't have any of that going for her. She seems to have used all the money she had saved for college already, with nothing remaining, plus May and her fiancé don't work, so they haven't funded anything themselves for their wedding. But should the OP treat both sisters the same regardless? While May is not as responsible as Rose was at the same age, it's not like she's a criminal or anything, she's just a little spoiled. But she does go to college and isn't getting in trouble. So what is your final choice after hearing everything? If you think the OP should treat both sisters the same and give equal contribution for May's wedding, type Q4 blue in the comments. If you think the OP has the right to decide against paying for anything regarding May's wedding, despite doing so for his other sister, type Q4 red. Now let's listen to a few comments.
Not the a-hole. There's a reason you're in charge and not the one marrying a degreeless, unemployed loafer at 21. You're doing what's best for her, even if she's too myopic to know it. Withholding the funds may also encourage a long engagement, and she might get sick of this freeloader. Maybe he's the one trying to pressure her into marriage for some access to easy cash.
Not the a-hole. Just pay and get done with it. The entitlement. Just wow. Does she really think every adult out there gets their wedding paid for by family?
Not the a-hole. You do not owe it to May to pay for her wedding. I know it's not fair since I paid for Rose's wedding. The circumstances are different, and you are allowed to treat people differently based on their own character and behavior. Though remember that you don't need to try and justify this to May. After all, nothing you say would be enough, would it? Just tell her you're sorry, she can call you an a-hole if she wants, but you don't have the money. If she can't afford to pay for a wedding, then she can't afford to marry. And then go on about your life. There is no way in hell you should consider taking out a loan. You are not responsible to pay for all your siblings' weddings just because you gave Rose that gift.
You do not have the responsibilities of a father. She is your sister, not daughter. Having to pay for her own wedding will help her learn what reasonable expectations for her wedding expenses are, which she will never learn if you foot the bill. And it sounds as if anything you can do to provide friction for their union will be a plus.
Not the a-hole. Just because you paid for one kid's wedding doesn't mean you have to pay for the others. My mom paid for my sister's wedding but wasn't able to pay for mine. No hard feelings. Financial well-being changes over the years.
Not the a-hole. Is it unfair? A bit. But you're also not entitled to pay for anything. It's still your money and you get to decide what to do with it. And they can still get married if they want to, for cheap. But you're also trying to be her father when you're her older brother. Be protective, but supportive. You can't really stop them from getting married, and if they really want to, then your opinion on their financial situation can't go farther than good-natured advice. You don't get to tell them anything. You didn't get Rose married. You paid for your sister's wedding. You have a lot of authority and control here as head of your family. But you're also a young man, and your siblings sometimes need a brother more than they need you to be a dad.
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching all the way to the end and participating. Please consider liking and subscribing to watch future videos. Goodbye.